The aunt gasped loudly. "What is this?" she said, clutching her chest like a perfect actress. "My nephew wife with a cat." You blink confused. "Wait, what? No, it's not what it looks like." The aunt pointed dramatically. "He putting his jacket on you like some cheap romantic movie. How dare you humiliate Jungkook like this?" The secretary stepped closer, pretending to be disgusted. "Boss, I told you she's not innocent." Your heart started pounding. "Jungkook, please listen to me. She's lying. The guard didn't do anything wrong." But Jungkook's eyes had already changed dark, dangerous black with like midnight. His jaw tightened as he stared at the scene. The guard was still holding the jacket, frozen with fear. Jungkook's voice came out cold and low. "What is happening here?" The guard immediately fell to his knees, said, "Please, I didn't." But Jungkook didn't let him finish. His anger was rising fast, boiling under the surface. The aunt pretended to hurt her nephew. "I saw everything with my own eyes. She cheating on you with your own cat." Your eyes filled with tears. "No, that's not true. She told him to give me the jacket." The secretary leaned closer to Jungkook. "Boss, please don't get upset. I know it hurts, but you deserve better than her." That sentence was her biggest mistake. Something inside Jungkook snapped. His face flinched, his voice turning sharp and deadly. "You dare to speak about what I deserve?" The secretary's smile faded instantly. Just before she could move, Jungkook grabbed her by the wrist and threw her back against the wall. The loud crash made everyone frozen. His eyes were black with rage, his body radiating danger. He turned to the aunt next. "You made this scene, don't you?" The aunt tried to step back, but his voice cut through the air like thunder. "You told the guard to give her the jacket. You set them up all to destroy her reputation." Her face went pale. "I didn't know what you are talking about." "Enough," Jungkook roared. "You think I didn't see through your flattery tricks?" You sobbed quietly behind him, trembling. The guard was still on his knees, head bowed in fear. Jungkook looked down at him, his tone turned deadly calm. "And you, why didn't you tell me she forced you?" The guard lips trembled. "Sir, she threatened my family. I had no choice." Jungkook's expression hardened with the truth finally is sinking in. He looked at you. Her eyes, red face went with tears and his anger shifted. Without a word, he turned to his men standing at the door. "Take them," he ordered coldly. The guard obeyed immediately, grabbing the aunt, guard and secretary, both screaming and begging. But Jungkook didn't flinch. "Lock them in the basement," he said deadly. "I will decide what to do with them later." The mansion was finally quiet again. The shouting had stopped. The footsteps were gone, and only you soft sobs filled the air. Everything felt heavy, the silence, the pain, and the tension that refused to fade. Jungkook stood at the other end of the room, his eyes fixed on her. The anger in him was still burning. He had almost lost control again. He started walking towards her. His steps were slow, but each one made your heart beat faster. She didn't move. She was too scared, too hurt to even look at him. Her tears fell one by one, staining under the dim light. When Jungkook finally stopped in front of her, he said quietly, "You." She didn't look up. "You didn't believe me," she whispered, her voice breaking. Jungkook's jaw tightened. For a few seconds he said nothing. Then he spoke low and heavy. "I did. But I didn't want to see it. But I didn't want to believe that they would betray me like that." Her lips trembling. "You scared me, Jungkook." That single sentence hit him harder than anything else. ever could. He took a deep breath, his chest tightened and closed his eyes for a moment. "I know," he said softly. He reached out slowly, carefully, and took her cold hands in his. His grip was firm but gentle. He didn't want to hurt her, not anymore. When she tried to pull away, he didn't let go. He said quietly, "Look at me." Finally, she raised her eyes. What she saw was not the same cold, dangerous man who had scared her before. "I will let anyone hurt you again," he said in a steady voice. "You are mine, you, and no lies will ever come between us again." Before she could say anything, Jungkook stepped closer and pulled her into his arms. For a second, you froze. His embrace was strong, almost desperate, but not rough this time. It was not about control, it was about holding on to the only thing that mattered to him. She could feel his heartbeat against her cheek. Strong, fast, alive. Her tears kept falling, but he didn't move. He just held her tighter near her ear. His voice dropped lower. "You belong with me," he whispered. "I will burn anyone who tried to take you from me." Your body trembled, but his words, even though dark, felt like a strange kind of safety. "I just want to trust me," she whispered through her tears. Jungkook pulled back a little, enough to look into her eyes. "I don't know," he said firmly, "and I will make sure everyone who hurt you pay for it." There was no emotion in his voice now, only a cold promise. He meant everything, single word. The world had seen Jungkook's anger before, but this time it was different. This time it was personal. He brushed a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "No one touch what's mine," he said quietly. Then he took a step back and placed his hand on her shoulders. "You are safe now. I will protect you, no matter what it cost me." Look at him, unsure whether to be scared or grateful. His touch was gentle, but his presence was still overwhelming. Like standing too close to a fire, dangerous but impossible to walk away from. Jungkook looked towards the door where his aunt and secretary had been taken away. His voice turned dark. "No one lies to me and gets away with it." Then he turned back to you. "Come with me," he said softly. He led her through the hallway to the bedroom. The lights were low, the air warm. He made her sit down on the edge of the bed. Her eyes were red and tired. She looked lost. He reached out and fixed a strand of hair behind her ear. "You need rest," he said quietly. "I can't sleep," she whispered. Jungkook stood up and sat beside her. "Then close your eyes," he said, his tone softer than before. "I will stay here." He gently guided her to lay down. You hesitated, but finally rested her head on the pillow. He sat next to her, watching as her breathing slowed. She was exhausted physically and emotionally, and soon her eyes began to close. When she finally fell asleep, Jungkook didn't move. He sat there in silence, just watching her. The daylight touched her face, making her look even softer, more fragile. He brushed his finger through along her hair, careful not to wake her. His eyes softened for a moment, but the darkness never left them completely. "I will protect you," he murmured, almost like a vow. "Even if I have to destroy everything else to do it." 2 hours later, you slowly opened her eyes. Her head was heavy, and for a moment she didn't remember where she was. The last thing she remembered was Jungkook's arms holding her tightly, his voice whispering promise of protection. Now the room was silent. The dim light coming through the curtains told her it was already late. She sat up slowly, and just then the door opened. Jungkook was standing there, dressed in black, his expression unreadable. His dark aura filled the room, cold, calm, and dangerous. "Come with me," he said quietly. His tone made her heart skip. There was no anger in it, but no warmth either, just command. Without saying a word, she stood up and followed him. They walked through the long hallway, the sound of their footsteps echoing softly against the marble floor. Jungkook didn't look back once. When they reached the basement door, her heart began to pound. She could hear muffled voices inside, anger, desperate, terrified. Jungkook opened the door slowly and walked in. Inside, his aunt was sitting on the floor, her hands shaking. The aunt and the secretary stood a few steps away, both silent and pale. Soon she saw Jungkook. His aunt shouted, "Let me go. You can't keep me here like this." Then her eyes fell on you, her voice twisted with anger. "This girl," she screamed, "lock this girl here instead of me. She's the reason of all of this." You frozen. Her chest tightened, her fingers cold. Jungkook didn't react, he just looked at his aunt, as dark as midnight. When he finally spoke, his voice was low but sharp. "Do you think I don't know what you have been doing all this time?" His aunt frowned. "What are you talking about?" Jungkook took a slow step closer. The room felt smaller, heavier, even the air seemed to stop moving. "I know everything," he said. You had everyone fooled. But I found out the truth during the investigation." The aunt's lips trembled. "What truth?" Jungkook's jaw clenched. You hated my parents. You couldn't stand them because my father was your stepbrother. You are jealous out of his power, his respect, his family, so you had him killed, and you made it look like your parents were the ones behind it." Your eyes widened, her breath catch in her throat. "What are you saying?" The aunt's face turned pale. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Then, after a moment, she burst into an anger laughter. "You think you know everything. You don't know what they did to me." Jungkook's voice cut through her words like ice. "And then use parents too, because they found out the truth about you." You covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. No, what can't be truth? But deep down she could see it, the guilt on the aunt's face, the fear in her eyes. The aunt looked away. "I didn't what I had to." She said finally, her voice low and bitter. "They were going to destroy everything I built." That was the movement. The silence in the room turned heavy and deadly. Jungkook took one last step forward, standing inches away from her. His expression didn't change, but the worry in his eyes were impossible to hide. "You destroy everything yourself," he said quietly, "and now you will face the end you create." He don't look at her, his gaze stayed locked on the aunt. "You took everything from me," he said quietly. "Now I will take everything from you." The aunt's expression turned from arrogance to panic. "No, wait!" But the sound of the gunfire cut her words short. A sharp, echoing sound filled the basement. The secretary screamed and tried to run. Another shot. The guard raised his hand in surrender. The third shot silenced him too. And then nothing, just silence, cold silence, and finally you stood frozen. Her heart pounded so fast it hurt. The smell of gunpowder hung in the air. Jungkook stood emotionless, breathing hard, eyes black and unreadable. It didn't feel real. It felt like time had stopped, like the world itself was holding its breath. He finally turned his head, finally to his side. His expression softened when he saw her, tears in her eyes, her hands trembling. "You," he said quietly. She took a step back, shaking her head. "What do you do?" "What I had to do," he said. His voice was calm, but there was a storm behind it, worry, pain, and something close to regret. "They kill our families. I just ended it." Her lips trembling. You could have. I did what They deserve. Jungkook interrupted sharply. You don't know what they took from us. The tension in his voice cracked something inside her, but your vision was already blurring. The room spin, the nose, the blood, the truth. It was too much. Jungkook stepped towards her. Angel, look at me. She spread her nails. Weak, I can't. Before he could reach her, her eyes closed and her body fell forward. You, Jungkook shouted, catching her just in time. He dropped to his knees, holding her tightly against his chest. Her head rested against his shoulder, her breathing swallow but steady when his gun fell to the floor beside them with a soft clatter. The sound of rain joined faintly through the walls, mixing with the pounding of his heart. Jungkook brushed her hair away from her face. You shouldn't have seen that, he whispered. You were not supposed to see this side of me. He landed up. The room was silent again. No one left, no voice, no threats, only him and her. He stood up slowly, still holding her in his arms. The weight of what he didn't press heavily on his shoulder, but his holding on her was steady, protective. He carried her out of the basement step by step, his expression unreadable. The storm outside had finally stopped, but the silence inside the mansion felt worse, like the calm after a war that had destroyed everything. In his room, Jungkook laid you gently on the bed. Her face was pale, peaceful, and unconscious. He sat beside her, his eyes softening as he reached out to touch her cheek.